we're just really on this path of having an ego low enough that says we don't know everything, but other people bring a lot of wisdom to the table, so we're going to learn from people who have fruit in the tree.
Hello everyone, we are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Okay, welcome back. Well, we were just finishing up in the last episode. Jackie was starting to express how to, the question was, how do parents lose sight of continuously getting to know their children all throughout their lives? And, you were just explaining a little bit about the mindset of engaging with your kids enough to be able to know some of the things that they need from you. But it all stems back to one of our main philosophies, which is you can't just have a goal in business. You have to have a goal with relationships, right? And if there's no goal, like if you don't have a goal, if I ask you, how's your relationship going to be with your kids 12 months from now, and you have zero goal, then it's really going to be up to chance. And that's a dangerous way to live life. And so setting goals that, hey, we're going to be more closely connected, we're going to be more deeply connected, and then actually having some strategies about what can make that happen over a 12-month window based on your life circumstances. I mean, that's such a foundational thing. It's one thing that I think that we have really, really done a good job of strategizing and making sure we follow through on every single year, and that goes a long way, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely one of the things that I know our kids notice, and I know other people notice, is the amount of time, like I take to study the kids, or you take to study the kids, because, when we were blessed to become parents, we just don't take it for granted. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying there's not days that aren't frustrating, and I'm not saying there's days that we are, questioning what we're doing, but I'm just saying we don't take it for granted. And I think if you just see it as such a gift that God gave you these children to steward, to love, to encourage, to, keep on the right path, to come to know Him, then, you take it as an honor when you have to deal with situations. You don't, just like in business, when there's situations that didn't work out the way you wanted them to, mm-hmm. You don't yell at the business, you don't get upset at the business. What you do is you grind it out and figure it out so that you can still win. Right? So that's what, even with parenting, you figure it out. You dig in deeper. You study your kids more. You study yourself a little bit. Is there something that you need to change? Is there something that you need to work on? Is there something that you need to evaluate? And if so, you do something about it because it's important. I mean, these are children that are going to impact generations. Mm-hmm. It's, at some point, we're going to pass off the reins just like every parent is, and they get to continue the legacy that you and I are starting, and just like every parent gets a chance to do.
Right.
And if we do it well, then my gosh, where will these amazing kids go? Who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think it's super important that we just take it as a serious journey, not just one that, whatever happens, it'll mm-hmm. be okay.
And I think you can start anywhere.
Absolutely.
I think if you're, 60 years old and your kids are
100%.
38 or 40, I think you could start now. I think, first of all, if you have some kind of anxiety between you guys, then ask yourself if it's worth it, mm-hmm. Because if it's not, then you might want to start asking yourself questions like, what is our philosophy on forgiveness?
Right.
Or is it going to be a philosophy of, well, I'm upset about something from the past, so I'm hanging on to it until they apologize? Or is it going to be, let's think bigger picture here. I mean, let's think about like deathbed kind of conversation.
Well, yeah, and even if you're a kid that's mad at your parent, if your parent did something to hurt you along the way, you know what I mean? We don't know every situation, so we're not pretending like we do. But like, can you go and talk to your parent? Can you go and try to make that relationship better than it's ever been?
Right on. So,
All right, well, I have a question for you.
Oh,
yeah.
Very good. Wait, I have one for you first.
No, I don't want to joke.
No, I need one first.
No, you don't. See, now you're...
Why can't a leopard hide?
Boom, boom. I don't know.
Because he's always spotted.
See, I knew it. That's your question for me on question day?
Yeah. What's your question now?
I don't have a joke.
Why not?
Okay, well, you know what?
Come prepared, babe.
Oh, okay. How do you and Greg, being from different backgrounds, get on the same page with raising your kids? How did you settle different points of views, parenting ways, discipline, etc.?
Well, taking a while to get Jackie to see things my way.
Oh, we're doing more jokes. I get it. That's a good one again.
Still working on it, to be honest with you. You know, but it goes back to you and I, as we have been studying leadership, we've been studying relationships, we've been studying marriage, healthy marriage. We've invested into mentors, coaches, seminars, everything you can think of, because we're just really on this path of having an ego low enough that says we don't know everything, but other people bring a lot of wisdom to the table. So we're going to learn from people who have fruit in the tree. And one of those areas was a really good marriage workshop that we went through. And it's the first time I ever heard someone communicate how much your normals of growing up affect every decision you make at a subconscious level, And so we dug into this topic and really started evaluating, okay, can we just get honest? Like, I have this whole set of normals that I truly believe are probably correct. You have this whole set of normals that you believe on a belief level, meaning a subconscious level, that are truly correct. And then we have to be willing to kind of blow them all up.
Right.
We really do. And it's hard. It's not easy when you're strong-willed people. And honestly, again, this stuff works on cruise control. And we just had to make a decision like, okay, can we just get honest? Can we just be really real? Like, I mean, for our parents, we're not going to be disrespectful if we choose to do something a different way than they did it, because they learned it from someone and they may not know everything that's perfect. So we kept basing everything back. Let's blow all of our normals up. Let's look at what the Word of God says behind all of these things, but then let's actually have some practicality with our unique situation of our life involved in that. And then let's keep massaging these topics along the way between the two of us, being willing to face into some conflict, where you disagree, I disagree, but doing it with honor. And then being able to have these conversations, think about them, talk them through, go back to maybe even some counsel, maybe go back to some of this studying we were doing. And it was literally, I know it probably sounds overwhelming to some people, but it's literally been almost like situation by situation for years now for us, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I think a lot of it was when we first started kind of dating, obviously neither one of us really understood how we wanted to parent. Like, I mean, what kind of conversation would we have? We didn't know how. But we would see children, parents out there, and we would see the behavior of their children or the way they talk to their kids or the way the kids talk to them or whatever it may be. And as those situations arose near us, we would talk about it. Like, I don't like how that happened. I don't want a parent like that. When we have children, that won't work for our household. You know what I mean? And we kept having those kind of conversations before we had children, number one.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped so that we could at least get to understanding of what both of us saw as a new way to parent. Then we had great resources, that we studied. And we're so thankful for those resources because, again, they were all biblically based. We did everything according to the Bible. We referenced everything from, how to parent, how to discipline, how to, raise, all of it when biblically based. And then I think once we had children and things came up, we really had to sit down and think about it. And we didn't handle it right all the time. Like at first we were like, should we try the timeout thing? At first, should we just, put them to take stuff away? At first, should we, whatever.
Threaten 25 times.
Right. We We didn't know with our first two. We say all the time, like deer in headlights, had no clue, right? I mean, we had an idea of what we didn't want to do, but we didn't know what to do with the whole thing. And then as we kept studying and we realized kind of like the difference between how you grew up and how I grew up and whatnot, we had to come to what really did work, but be both willing to actually implement it. That's the biggest thing, is come to a point to realize that we both have to be okay with what we're going to put into action as parents. And if no matter what your backgrounds are, it doesn't really matter. When you guys come together, you got to come to a healthy place that you're willing to both follow through with it. Because I think the hardest thing about parenting is when both parents aren't on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's more frustrating than, hey, I want to parent this way, you want to parent this way, and the kids just, you know, they get to choose which one they want to be on the side of.
I mean, if we're going to get like brutally honest, which I guess is why we do this, right? And just somewhat take the gloves off, and at the risk of ticking somebody off or offending them, which isn't uncommon for at least myself to do. Here's the fact. You know, the reality is, as I got myself more on track with my Heavenly Father, as I stopped trying to do things just my way, and I started really allowing myself to be coached and mentored by biblical standards and principles from a God who I know wants us to succeed above all else. And you started doing the same thing in your own way. Right. As we both started like kind of like realizing that, listen, we how can we ever have our kids submit to our leadership, honor our leadership, if we don't honor our Heavenly Father's leadership, right?
True.
That's the first part. And that's a journey in itself. And we've been working on that journey, and we're still working on it, right? The second one is after that, okay, then you realize that now we got to work on us quite a bit too. We can't just sit here and have all these things that we just keep compromising, quote unquote, on that we don't agree on, you know, philosophies of faith, of how we want to discipline, of, you know, are we a growth-minded family? Do, you know, whatever. There's so many topics in a family. So we have to work on us and getting on the same page. And that's why we've done so much marriage stuff, and we've done so many, we've read so many books. Then you filter it down from there. And now we have a foundation where you and I can work together and be a team about how we're going to raise these little human beings into the champions that they're supposed to be.
Right.
So it's like, I know it's not an easy, short answer for someone who's asking, how do you get on the same page? The reality is you're going to have to dig your toes in the sand, and you're going to have to go through a process. There's not a shortcut. There just isn't. Like, I would suggest the first thing is that you really check your relationship with God, and you start working on it. You don't work on it to try to fix your spouse. You work on it because you can have a better one, and you need to have a better one. Number two, then you start working on it from that angle with that kind of foundation and that kind of guidance on your marriage. And then you start, you know, really being able to pour that into your kids. And I'll tell you, it is a thing of beauty once you start doing that, because, you know, I know that our kids listen to us very well because they know that we work hard to listen to our God. Like, I know it. I can see it all over them, that they know that we're submitted to something bigger, so they can be submitted to something bigger, right?
Sure, there's a lot of peace in that.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go to a different one here. This is this is a good one. I can't wait to hear your answer in this one. They're looking for tips. Someone who has 5 kids, ages 1 through 8. They want to know some tips for getting to places on time. So, house manager,
why don't you go first,
manager extraordinaire, would you like to attack this one? And let's give some specifics.
Yeah,
you know?
why don't you start off? I want to hear from your perspective first.
I don't think it's that hard, babe. I think we just, you know, get ready, and we have time we're leaving, and get in the car, and you know, I'm ready to go. Like,
that's the key. I'm ready to go. You just said it. I'm ready to go.
Well, it's helpful, though, isn't it, that I am? Because if I wasn't, wouldn't that be worse?
Sure, babe.
All right, okay. So this is your wheelhouse, all right? So, hey, you said you want a 7th kid. I choose to act like that just for your benefit from time to time. And so how do you organize us 7 kids in our household to get us out the door on time?
I don't do it very well.
Yes, you do.
No, I'm typically 5 minutes late, but...
but you get all of us out the door on time. You getting out the door on time is a different story, but
yeah, because I'm not taking care of Uno over here.
Uno.
Number one.
Okay. All right, Uno.
No, I mean, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't have the answers to everything. I mean, I think, in our situation, it comes with just trying to plan our calendars accordingly, what we can and can't do all the time, when we really need to leave by. I mean, truly, I take a typical day where we have to be out the door. I don't know, moms. When it comes to school and stuff like that, I remember how many times I dropped the kids late because it just was like so much going on in the morning. But I don't beat myself up for the things I do wrong. I try to think of the things that are important and what we need to get to and where we need to be. And if you need to get up earlier or whatever the case may be, I try to plan accordingly. You know what I mean? Like whatever that looks like. For me, if we're trying to get on the door early the next morning, it starts the night before. It's having everything organized the night before, whether it's clothes, whether it's showers, whether it's meals for the day, whatever it may be. It starts the day before, and maybe that's too means I need a helper at home to make that happen. We've gone through seasons where we've had, full-time nannies at our house to help us so that we could do what we need to do as a family and as a couple and as business owners and stuff like that. And then the morning of, when the kids are so young, I try really hard to have a lot of pep talks. The truth is, when they're really young, they can only do so much. And so when you pressure them to do more than they can because I'm stressing, it turns into a disaster and a lot of mom guilt and all that kind of stuff.
There's so many layers to these questions, because like, for instance, these are all things that we've figured out over time. Number one, we do a weekly team meeting and we do calendar planning. So now there's a kind of an overview of the week now, right? Which helps you and I, but also helps them kind of, we even be able to have conversations like, okay, so this is what the week looks like. This is we're going to need you to be ready at this time. We're going to need this to happen at this time, right? So it sets this tone of it. And then it's pretty much per day. Right. And you are very good at thinking this stuff through. Okay. You guys got to be up for our schoolwork tomorrow by this time. So the night before, we're not staying up past this time,
Right.
that kind of thing. So you start it there. Then you, depending on their age, like you said.
Yeah. Because if it's 5 and unders, there's no point.
You're not doing this stuff yet.
No, that's what yeah.
But with an 8-year-old, you are.
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
But it's like what we did with our kids as they got older. We kept expecting a different level of maturity and responsibility for certain things like this. You look at Drews and Ellie. Ellie just turned 10, and she sets her own alarm. She has to get herself up for things. But we taught her that now. She probably tried to do it a little bit younger, didn't work out that well. We realized she's probably too young for that yet. So then we stepped in and, made sure things got to happen. But this is part of the process, right?
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with organization beforehand, like you just said. Prep work ahead of time. And then just two, I think one thing when my kids were young is not over booking everything. Mm-hmm. I think
that's huge.
Because the truth was it fell on my shoulders so much to get them to everything or get them ready for everything, to get them in the car for everything, and having an honest conversation, even like with Greg or whatever during that season, if there was somewhere he wanted to go or something we wanted to do, or if there was something we got invited to, whatever the case may be, it would be, I'm okay with going to this, but we can't go to all of it. So which one is most important today? Because by the time I organize all the kids and I do all this stuff, I'm just not going to make it to everything. I'm just going to be realistic.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if he was,
even if you do make it and you're miserable the whole time, it's just not worth it. Right.
And so even if he was like, well, can we just try? Can we go here? I'd be like, we can try, but if it doesn't work out, and to be honest with you, we got in arguments about it. We would try and overdo stuff.
Yeah.
And then get home, the kids are miserable and we're arguing and stuff like that. So it's like
we made it to everything, but we all are unhappy right now.
Right. So it really was one of those things that it was like we kept, figuring out along the way. So I think a lot of communication with husbands and wives. And if you have to say no to people because you can't do stuff because you're in that season where it's just like, it's a little too much for my plate today. You know what I mean? Then you say no. There's some things you absolutely have to get to. Then you make those the priority. And then the things that, it'd be great to get to them, but we don't have to get to them. You have to be okay with it. And that goes for your kids too. I will tell you, there'll be days when I have great plans for them. Greg will sometimes even tell you, he'll go, away for the weekend to do something or a weekday or whatever. He's out of town. And all of a sudden I'm overbooking our calendar, even with the kids. And I have 6 kids that can help. They're of age that can help. And I come home exhausted, worn out, and, my temper's at all time max. And he's like, see, you overbooked yourself, Jackie. Like, they don't need to do all that kind of stuff just
Right.
because you had some time today to go do it, and not to feel guilty when you have to say no to things, not to tell your kids.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times we've said something to the kids like, hey, tomorrow we might go to the park. And then when it didn't work out, we just say, you know what, guys, I wish it did. We kind of overbooked ourselves. We're going to have to go a different day,
Yeah.
and we're just open about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Good recovery.
You are. Thanks for getting all 7 of us out the door.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm worried about you some days.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not really.
No, not really, actually.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. And we have great news. You get more of us. You can expect new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. So be sure to consistently tune in with us and enjoy our show. See you next time.